Oh, I can sit. No shade today. Sorry to disappoint everybody. He got the night off.
Dub, Mark often talks about, coming up with solutions as a team throughout the course of a season against different types of coverages. How have you felt you guys have grown over the season attacking zones like the one that you saw tonight? Because it just seemed like you all sliced it up.
Yeah, we're just doing a good job of adjusting on the fly. It's just something that teams have been doing to obviously throw something else at us when we kind of get in a flow offensively. I think we've done a good job as a team too, kind of sensing when teams are going to do it and not getting stifled by it. So just over the course of time, when you see it over and over again, there's only so many zones in the NBA that you can do. So we try to just attack them and live with aggressive mistakes, and a lot of times we'll end up getting a good shot before we turn it over or something.
You had this nice little and one down low, right under the rim, against the zone. Mark has talked in the past about, when you first got here, you really kind of mastered some of the system skills of a guy who might not necessarily have a ton of on-ball stuff. Mm-hmm. What have you done to maintain all of that, to still be really effective even when you're not, using it at a high level during certain stretches of the game?
W question. I think in college, just being there for so long, we had a lot of systematic stuff in place, to when I got to the NBA, when I was asked to do that, it wasn't foreign to me. So it's almost ingrained in how I play. It's how you can steal buckets. I think some of it is just being able to sacrifice yourself down there for the better of the team, for spacing. If I can go down there, obviously it gives other guys confidence to go down there, and everybody kind of understands that's what we need to do to score and win. So I try and just for example, dunk or run in the lane, just doing the stuff that's in place for everybody to be successful.
Jalen, you've gotten to the free throw line a bit more here recently. Has anything about your approach been sharpened or changed at all?
I don't know. I think just trying to get downhill more, finishing through contact, and honestly just playing I've kind of gotten out of the zone of worrying if I'm going to get to the free throw line or not. And I think that's served me well. So I don't think I'm doing anything different. I think I'm just getting downhill a little more and just kind of putting it up to their hands to make a call. But just trying to finish the opportunities I do get.
You got a big lead on third quarter. You're up about 40 points, whatever it is. Your energy seemed to be there defensively. How do you keep that up and not let up when you got such a big lead?
I don't want this to come off ignorant, but when you have a lead like that, you're kind of playing against yourself in a way. It's very easy to let your foot off the gas. Oh, mom called me. It's very easy to kind of stop playing, and that's something that we've been fighting with all year, and I think we've done a really good job of it. But you still try and get those core fundamentals in that you'll need later on. So when you go into the next game, that doesn't carry over. So we want to end the game and be able to start the next one how we ended the last one. I think we've done a good job of that.
Over the course of the regular season, it seems like your dynamic with Hart has really evolved and continue to go higher and higher. I know we talked about sort of in the preseason you could see some of that coming, but over the course of the season, where have you guys improved the most just as a duo? Because I remember going back earlier in the season, there was even the point where you guys were really excited about the Gortat screen action. So where's that sort of evolved to?
Yeah, it's funny because he missed a lot of the beginning of the season too. So a lot of us is still us trying to figure each other out. So it's been fun. He's a great screener and he has a high IQ. So I think when you pair us up, obviously we get a lot of good stuff out of it. And I think it's just willing to talk through, certain plays with each other, and we watch film individually and come together and see what works and what doesn't. And yeah, we're just trying to play off each other. We're accepting each other's mistakes, and obviously, like I said before, we're gonna be successful more times than not.
Mark said that Isaiah Joe changed the game tonight. I think he's had 13 3-now's in the last two games. Do you see it that way?
Yeah. And how many did he hit tonight? 8? He was 8 for 14? Yeah. I mean, that basically opens up space on the floor when you have somebody like that to be in the quad, be on the wing. It just gives another element to our team that teams have to worry about. Hello. Nobody? Ho ho, let's go.
Not as good as you.
Heard you were better.
Isaiah, you guys are 28-1 against Eastern Conference teams. That's a record in NBA history for any team against the opposing conference. When you hear something like that and understand the way that you guys prepare for some of these teams that you don't necessarily see a ton, what maybe resonates with you?
I think it just shows that we put the same amount of preparation for any team, no matter East or West. We treat every game like it's worth something. It shows like nights like tonight. And we play together no matter who we play on both ends of the ball.
You ever, I mean, you're obviously hot tonight, and I know you like this, but you ever say, how I keep getting open? This couple I mean, it's like there's nobody near you.
Every once in a while. It's like, I mean, I'm not complaining, but sometimes they lose me. I'm like, oh, for a free one. You know, I take it. But I think my job is, create space, keep moving. And if they lose me, they lose me. But more importantly, my teammates have the ability to, find me and make the passes. So everything kind of plays a part.
Can you feel the energy you inject in not just your team, but the home crowd when you hit those threes?
Yeah, I mean, we got the best crowd out there, I believe, and they always bring energy. And we definitely feel the energy every night.
You had some crazy shots tonight, but you're not one to just take a bunch of heat checks. So I'm just wondering, you had one from about the volleyball line on the left side. How many shots need to go in before you start feeling yourself in terms of like, maybe I can open things up a little bit more and try a few different shots?
I mean, I'm just out there trying to be consistent, do what I do. I think heat checks come with the flow of the game. I don't ever really go out there and make a few shots like, oh, I'm about to, shoot this heat check. It's like if the ball comes and I believe I can squeeze off a shot, then it can go up. So I think from the outside looking in, you can always look at somebody and be like, oh, my God, he's taking a heat check. But out there on the floor, it's like, sure, I'm in a rhythm. I hit a few. This might go up, so.
What else we got? Josue in the back?
Isaiah, when you're shooting like this, when everything's going this way, especially 2 games in a row, you're in this groove. Do you wish that playoffs were around the corner? Do you wish it was like a week away or so? Like, how do you, not how do you finish the regular season, but is there a part of you that you kind of wish you could get to the postseason quicker?
I mean, playoffs are pretty much around the corner, but I think taking it one game at a time would be the biggest key to success with the team and for me. If I can keep stacking days, stacking games, I'm going to have, good enough rhythm, plenty of rhythm going into the postseason.
Isaiah, you've been really active on the defensive glass and also in passing lanes. Like, how have you felt about your progression as a defender in your career so far?
It's something that I, take a lot of pride in, especially being quote-unquote undersized. When I'm out there, I don't want to be the weakest link on the defensive end, given that we have a tremendous defensive team, across the board. When I'm out there, just trying to be scrappy, trying to fly around, be at the right places at the right time, and just be like a gnat out there.
Anybody else? Thanks, Zach.
Appreciate you.
Mark, there just seems to be a pretty machine-like focus and approach as you guys are sprinting to the finish line of the season. What do you notice from the group in terms of the preparation and everything that they're doing?
Yeah, still really good. Daily approach has been great, and the consistency day to day has been there, and I think that's shown up on the court. And we're in a nice team rhythm, both ends of the floor. Game by game. So we got 7 more, not an insignificant amount of games. We got to keep improving, keep sharpening our blade as we run through the rest of the regular season.
One of the things that you guys have been, sharpening all season is attacking the zone defense. They threw quite a bit of that at you tonight, and I just wonder, as you look at the season as a whole and what you put out tonight, just the precision, what you think of the improvement that you made inside the year.
Yeah, I thought the turning point for us was the Cleveland game on the road. They zoned us late, and it was disruptive to us. And our attacks and confidence against it has grown significantly since then, including the next game we played Cleveland, and then every time we've seen it since. So it's not perfect. It was got off to a poor start tonight, but once we got a rhythm against it, I thought we attacked it really well.
What happened? I mean, he scored 145, but didn't really start that way because you had some turnovers early in the paint, whether it's them, you, or whatever. But then you kind of went small with J. Will and later Kendricks. What changed for that lineup to kind of get the offense going and really just, it seemed like it started going after that?
Yeah, I thought that group, and Isaiah Joe, got it going really early, and I thought that's what gave us some rhythm offensively that we were able to sustain for most of the night. But also, it goes back to the defense. We got off to a clunky start on offense, but our defense was pretty good, and so we were able to hold a lead while we kind of figured things out on the other end of the floor.
And they had won 9 of 12. Kobe White's a big part of that, but he didn't really had an impact. You want to stop him. How did you slow him up?
Yeah, I thought, he had scored 29 a game coming into the game in the month of March, and had, I think, 15 straight 20-point games, some 30-point games, a 40-point game in there. So he was white hot coming into the game, and I thought collectively good job with the game plan. I thought Lou specifically, again, it's kind of a tired thing, but this guy every night, he seems to get the best of really, really good players that are playing really well, and Kobe White is no exception. He's played as well as anybody offensively for, 15 straight games now.
What else we got? Riley, go ahead.
You talked about kind of the defense keeping you, with the lead whenever the offense was struggling a little bit. We've talked a lot about kind of shooting variance and offensive variance. Do you think that defense inherently isn't as volatile as offense is?
I mean, it depends on what part of defense. If you give up transition, or they had 6 fast break points in the first half, and they lead the league in that category. So I mean, if you can cut out the reliable stuff, the rim, transition, free throws, it gives you a chance. And they can still have a hot shooting night, but it stacks things in your favor. And then you try to generate that stuff on the offensive end. So we try to control everything we can. We don't want it to always come down to whether or not we make jump shots or our opponent does. And the team's done a great job of staying focused on that.
Go ahead, Gallo.
In your perspective, what do we not see about the work that Isaiah Joe puts in behind the scenes? You hear things from teammates about him being there every time that they're popping in and late at night.
Yeah, no, he's got a great approach and routine on his own and inside the team. He has unwavering confidence. He's another example of a guy that shoots his shots, and his shots are more difficult than everybody else's, obviously because of his gravity, but he finds his shots, he works on his shots, and he keeps doubling down and shooting them. And I'm always impressed by how he bounces back from a bad shooting game. We were in L.A. a couple weeks ago against the Clippers, and he had 2 great looks in the fourth quarter that he missed, and then we put, I think it was Caruso back in the game down the stretch. He didn't close the game, and I know he was disappointed. He hates missing open shots, but he doesn't seem to stay there very much. The next day, he's back to it. In the next game, he's shooting his shots again, and it helps him work through that, and it's very impressive. He changed the game for us tonight.
Historically, there's been more value put on perimeter or interior defenders than perimeter defenders. But do you feel like that gap is sort of closing as we go more and more into positional basketball and more perimeter skills?
And the rim stuff's still relevant, but so is the perimeter stuff. I think the rim stuff's a little easier to see and impact and measure in terms of impact. The perimeter stuff, there's a lot of plays, that Lou doesn't let somebody catch, or he doesn't let them get an advantage on a pick and roll, or he wins a closeout against them and they just have to move the ball, and it's hard to measure that stuff. And so that's not only him, that's Caruso, Case, and Dub, really all of our guys. And the only way you can really measure it is team impact, and they've done a great job of committing to that. And we've had a great defense for this regular season because of that. So I don't know about how to see it as a positionless thing or what you asked, but the invisible stuff shows up in the outcomes.
There's a point, I think it's like the 9-minute mark of the third quarter. You guys had a really good closeout sequence where guys were rotating, attacking shots. You got a big lead. Made it real easy to kind of let up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's that say about your team? I mean, you got this big lead. You got 7 games after this, but they're still doing that.
Yeah, and I thought in Indiana, we're diving on the floor up by 20, and against Memphis, that was a game that felt like a loss, to be honest with you. It's just like, they punched us early. They had more juice to start the game. We went up 14 in the third. They came all the way back and took a lead. It's like it had the feel of a home loss. And then, the guys just turned on a different level, and ended up, running away with that game. And so it's impressive internal motivation that the guys have. I think they feed off each other's energy, and it's important for us right now because every game you either get better or you get worse, and we certainly don't want to coast through the rest of the regular season. We'll have plenty of time to rest, when the season's over, and during the play-in week, we got to continue to stay sharp and take advantage of every opportunity.
And Shai, I guess, kind of a quiet 27. He has 12 assists tonight. So, I mean, that's one of those things that probably kind of gets overlooked because you look for the 35-point games or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought the assist stood out tonight. First half and second half, you just let the game come to him. He took what the defense gave him. He had a great blend of his attacks and also getting his teammates involved and, leveraging his gravity. Some guys just, you tell them you got to pass more and they just kind of move it and stand. And he's not like that. He stays on the gas and makes the right play, and he found rollers tonight. He found perimeter guys. He was really in control with the ball. He has been all year. He's done a great job in that area, but tonight he was really good.
You guys now have had the most success against a conference opponent than anyone in NBA history. And you've talked whenever you play West teams about the familiarity between you guys and the opponent, but in the East there's naturally less familiarity because there's only 2 times that you play each other. What goes into still winning games like this when you're not as familiar with the other team?
There's like archetypes of teams, archetypes of players. They had similarities to Indiana and Memphis, like I mentioned pregame. So, and you're at no more of a disadvantage than they are. They only see you the amount of times that you see them. So, it's another good accomplishment for this team. But we didn't even know that was a record or that it existed until we're right on the doorstep of it. So it just shows the power of stacking and continuing to improve and competing together at every opportunity. And then you look up and you have something like that. But this team's done a great job of staying present in the season.
Anyone else?
Yep, thanks.